Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Moostang 09 or Sean here, and today we got a special guest with us. This is my buddy Zach. He's a police officer and he graduated college with a criminal justice degree. He is here to help us out. He's going to give us everything we need to know for when you get pulled over. So this is the start of a new series called Life Lessons with Moostang. Appreciate it if you'd stick around and watch and join along for the ride. Intro coming. Yep. Like I said before, guys, this is my buddy Zach. Zach, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
How y'all doing, YouTube? I'm Zach. I've been a police officer here in the DFW Metroplex for about 2 years now. Like Sean said, I graduated college with a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice, and the department I work for, I work deep nights, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and it's not the greatest part of town, so I'm gonna share some tips with y'all that if you get pulled over at nighttime, some of the things you can do to put us at ease a little bit, because we don't know you, you don't know us, and we don't really know what we're walking into. It's just maybe another traffic stop or waste y'all's time getting pulled over, but to us, we're trying to investigate something different. So just be patient and respectful, and we'll get y'all on your way.
So what we're going to do is we're going to just discuss the proper steps you should take when you get pulled over, whether it be for a moving violation or a cop just ran your tags, whatever it is. You don't know what it's for. All you know is that the red and blues are behind you, they're whistling their sirens off at full blast, and they're waving you to pull on over. So these are kind of the steps and the questions I have when you get pulled over, and hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Zach, typically when I get pulled over, the first thing that I do is I turn my car off, set the keys up on the dash. That way the cop knows that my car's not going anywhere, that when he walks up, I'm not running from him. And I also try and make sure that I get my license and insurance. Typically they say license and registrations, but in Texas, you just need license and proof of insurance. So as far as that goes, is that a good basis to start off with, is to cut your car off, have the keys visible so that they know that you're not going anywhere, and have your papers ready?
I've actually had never had anybody put the keys on the dash, but I mean, as long as you pull over and like have your hazards on or something, that's fine.
That's right, I throw my hazards on.
With a car like yours, if you don't want to sit your car wasting gas idling, then it's probably a good idea to turn it off. But yeah, have your license and insurance ready. Don't be fidgeting around in the glove box whenever the cop is walking up. Either have it out before he gets up there, or once he asks for you, then you start digging for it. Because if you're digging around when he's walking up, he doesn't know if you're reaching for a weapon or what. That's
what I was gonna ask, because I've also had other cops tell me to wait to get your paperwork until they come to the vehicle. That way they can see what you're doing, because it could kind of freak somebody out when you're leaning across the car and you're digging around and people don't know exactly what you're doing, especially a police officer, when to him you could be pulling a gun.
Exactly.
And he doesn't know what kind of situation he's walking into. So that starts off getting pulled over. The next part is actually presenting your papers, and if there's any issues there. Typically the cops will check your inspection and registration, make sure those are intact and legal and you're not expired, and then you hand your paperwork over. So when you hand your paperwork over, is there anything you should do or shouldn't do, should say, shouldn't say?
No, you know, I just, going back to when I first walk up, I work at nighttime, so I like it when people turn their dome lights on. And I had a guy the other day, I pulled him over, it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. He looked like he was going to work, but I ran his registration, it was expired, and he had a headlight out. So I went ahead and pulled him over, and before I even got out of the car, I was riding passenger, my buddy was in the driver's seat, and before we even got out of the car, he had rolled down all 4 windows. It was a Chevy 1500, and it had really, really dark tint. Rolled all 4 windows down, turned on the dome light, had his hands on the steering wheel. I mean, we're still cautious, but it made us feel a little bit at ease, knowing that we could see inside the car, we could see what's in the back seat, we could see both occupants that were in the car, and going back to what Sean was talking about, I'll ask. License and insurance, you know, on TV, the movies, they say license and registration. They may do that in other states, but here in Texas, it's license and proof of insurance. Well, technically what we're supposed to say is proof of financial responsibility, but nobody ever knows what we're talking about when we say that. So license and insurance, get that, go back to the car, confirm that you do have valid insurance, and run you through the Texas driver's license database. It'll pop up if you have any warrants, but most of the time it just shows your name, driver's license information, where you're from, or where the address that's on your driver's license. And as long as you're courteous and respectful to us, or at least to me and most of the guys I work with on deep nights, we're not gonna scratch you a ticket. Since we work late nights, we're looking more for burglars and people that are actually breaking the law. And I had a guy the other day, I pulled him over and he said, can you just give me a warning? I think I pulled him over for his registration being out. And you know, it kind of ticked me off because I wasn't going to give him a ticket anyways, but I wanted to give him a ticket after he said that, because the warnings, it's a convenience to you. We're not out here trying to write everybody we see a ticket. We want to curb your behavior.
Although it may feel like it, especially if you own a Mustang, because every time I've been pulled over, you got a ticket. So.
But when he said that, I wanted to go back to the car and scratch him a ticket. I ended up not. And I told him, I was like, if you ever do that again, if I ever pull you over again and you give me that same crap, can you cut me a break? Then I'm probably gonna write him a ticket. And if there's any females out there watching Moostang 09, don't start crying. That doesn't really work. And don't say I thought you don't give cute girls tickets, because there's some.
Somebody really asked you that?
There's nobody has said that to me, but there's some officers out there who, if they have a female say, I thought you don't give cute girls tickets, they'll say, you're right, we don't, sign here. And that's kind of a low blow. I don't know if I do that, but.
Another thing that I always try to make sure is being very respectful to the police officer. Yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. So now we'll take it to where the cop's at your window, you've given them your paperwork, and this is where the communication starts. This is where the conversation picks up, and the officer's gonna get a feel for what kind of mood you're in, you're gonna get a feel what kind of mood he's in, and it typically starts off with, sir, how you doing today? Today I pulled you over for speeding, or he asks why he pulled you over, if you knew why, and typically you're gonna get, I get pulled over for speeding. That's really the only thing I've ever been pulled over for, and I would just say that's for the majority of other people. That'll be the reason is moving violation of some sort. And so he comes to the window, sir, do you know I pulled you over? No, I pulled you over for speeding. Is there a reason for your speeding today? Is there an emergency? And that's typically something officers ask, right?
Yeah, I mean,
there's an emergency.
Some do.
They don't want to stop you on your way if you're trying to get to the hospital or somebody you know has been injured of some way, and you can justify your actions. So they ask if you've been speeding, and typically the next question is, sir, do you know how fast you were going? And I never answer that question. For some reason, I always just say, no, I don't. I don't answer it with a number and say, oh, I was going 70. Now, Zach, when the cop steps back to his car, is his mind already made up if he's giving you a ticket or not? Or is there anything you can say or do at the window to kind of persuade him otherwise?
Well, you know, when we first pull you over, that first interaction is key, and that's where we're going to make our mind up if it hasn't already been made up before we pulled you over, depending on what the infraction is. I'm a human being too, and some people don't realize that we're humans too, and we make mistakes and this and that. People just think we're out to get everybody, and like Sean said, you know, some may be, but that's not the case with everybody. And that first interaction that we have with you is gonna be key in deciding on what we're gonna do from there.
Todd goes back to his car. What are the best steps for the person in the vehicle to do? Is just to remain still with their hands on the steering wheel?
Yeah, just stay still. Don't be moving around a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I've never gotten out of the vehicle when I've been pulled over. I always stay put. Like you said before, my windows are down, and try to make sure my hands are visible so that they know where they're at all times, so they never feel harmed or threatened. And then another thing that I do is make sure the radio's off, make sure that I'm not on my phone. This day and age, everybody's wanting to be on their phone, and I just feel like it's rude to the police officer, and plus it's kind of a distraction when you're driving anyways to be on your phone. Most places have outlawed being on the phone while you drive, texting, and I know some states have even banned phone calls in general. So I try and stay off my phone completely whenever I get pulled over. Is that a good idea? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
if you're on a phone conversation, is to end it right away. And
yeah, I'd go ahead and hang up. I mean, like you said, it's kind of disrespectful, and it's probably gonna irritate whoever pulls you over. And don't be one of those people who, when the officer comes up to the door, I mean, if you haven't rolled down your window already, fine. But if the officer asks you to roll down your window, don't be one of those people who cracks it about this much and then is trying to talk to the officer through that. Because if you didn't have our attention before that, you certainly have our attention now, and we're gonna pay a little bit more attention to you. And if we pulled you over for something simple, we're gonna look to see how many tickets we can write you.
right, and kind of like before, Zach said, and this is something that I think is important for you, a good takeaway for the video, is that police officers are humans too, and they don't want to feel like they're talking to a dog in a cage or vice versa when you barely crack your window. You want to be respectful and let them know that you're just there to make their job easier, and they're there to make your life easier. They don't, I mean, of course they pulled you over, so it's kind of inconvenienced you to some point, but at the same rate, if whatever your action was that required them to pull you over, that could have inconvenienced somebody in a way worse way. So they're just trying to prevent the bigger picture from happening and trying to keep it on a small scale before something gets out of hand. So with that being said, be respectful to cops. Let them know that you're not there to hurt them by remaining still and your hands visible. Also, off the cell phone, keep your window down, have the car turned off, turn your hazards on. That protects you and the police officer from when you get pulled over. Cars know that there's a situation there, and typically when I see a car with hazards, I immediately slow down. When you do pass a situation like that, what you should do as a kind and courteous driver on the roadway. And they cover this typically in your driver's education courses, but in Texas, the state law is when somebody has been pulled over and say it's a 2-lane road, we're going this way, the law requires you to slow down to 20 miles an hour or slower, just to be respectful to the police officers, so that way they don't feel endangered when you come flying past them. Now, that's right, 20 miles an hour?
20 miles an hour under the posted speed limit.
Okay, 20
or change lanes.
20 under the posted speed limit. So if it's 55, you want to go 35. Or if you have the option to change lanes and totally get away from that situation, that way he's not looking over his back the whole time, and he can deal with the situation at hand.
Yeah, that's another thing. You brought up a good point, because I refuse to pull anybody over on the freeway. Just because people don't pay attention, and working deep nights, there's a lot of drunks out, and I don't know what it is about those squad car lights. Once you turn them on, it's like a beacon. It's like the little bug zappers where the bugs go into at nighttime and get killed.
Draw them right through them.
These drunks are drawn to the lights, and I don't know what it is. I work wrecks on the freeway, and it's pretty scary out there when you're on the freeway and those cars are zooming past you. You don't think about it when you're driving because you're going the same speed, but when you're standing there and you're not in a vehicle and those cars are coming by you, it's not a good feeling. And if you could just move over, slow down.
Very good. So I think we got it all. I think we got the know-how of what we need to be doing when and if we ever get pulled over. So knock on wood, if you're watching this, you don't ever want to get pulled over. Being pulled over is an inconvenience to you. It's an inconvenience to the police officer. You are obviously doing something wrong that caught their attention enough to stop you in your travels. But if you ever do get pulled over, take away something from this video of putting your hands on the steering wheel. Have your car turned off, have your papers ready. Keep your papers ready. That way you're not digging and fondling around within your car to find them. Have them in one secure spot. Like for me, I keep my insurance card in my wallet right next to my driver's license. So if I were to get pulled over, I have them right there, bang, bang, pull them out, easy as that. I don't want to be digging through my glove box or my center console and have the cop worried that when he comes here, my back's turned to him and he has no idea what I could be hiding in front of me. Yep. So be respectful, be kind, be courteous, and obey the law most importantly, because you don't want to get pulled over. It's just not fun.
It's not a good feeling.
It's not a good feeling. It kind of ruins your day, puts a bummer on it, and it's kind of like this gray cloud that just follows you for the rest of the day, and sometimes a week, depending on what you get a ticket for and how big the fine is. Be safe out there, guys. I just want to say thanks to Zach for coming on, giving his opinion, and some tips from the pros, you could say. So, be good, guys. Thanks for watching, and as always, take it easy.